Infertility can bring about a range of emotions, challenges, and uncertainties within a marriage, and it is essential to create a safe space for open dialogue and support. In this episode, we will shine a light on the unique experiences and perspectives of men who navigate the complex landscape of infertility, offering understanding, empathy, and practical insights. Welcome to Unmasking the Man. And right about now, let me introduce you to my panelists, starting from my right, as usual, drum rolls, Levi Kones.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Something small about yourself, introduce yourself in a minute.
Levi Kones is a family man and a journalist and an author of now 2 books, and very glad to be here.
Karibu sana. Yes, Pastor Kesis.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. I enjoy being in this show where we are unmasking the man. I'm glad to be alive. What I do for a living is I do pastoral work. I deal with the people in their happy occasions, sad occasions, and sometimes we have had to deal with the infertility issues that come up, in that pastoral setting. I write, and books are out there, and I also teach people. They call me associate professor for that kind of assignment. But there are some people who call me father. There's a lady who calls me husband.
You go by many titles.
Not few.
Welcome once again to the Unmasking.
Thank you so much.
All right.
We want to... Infertility.
Infertility. Yes.
Shine the light somewhere.
Definitely.
Yes.
And of course, gentlemen, now of course you're part of you're part of the show. You've been here for the last many episodes.
We are the show.
You are the show. Oh, okay. Sorry. You are the show. So allow me now to introduce and welcome, shine the spotlight on our 2 guests who are joining us for this particular discussion on infertility and how it affects men. And let me start by introducing one, Janai. How are you feeling?
Very fine. And
welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Tell us 1 or 2 things about yourself.
My name is Janai Orina. I'm a journalist. I work with Hope Channel Kenya. I do production, and I'm in charge of transmission also.
And in the capacity of this conversation today, how do you come in?
I went an experience which I want to share today with my wife, who is not around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And of course, the light is as well on Dr. Kireki. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Tell us, among the many things that you do and the titles that you hold, at least we have a few seconds to hear some of them. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
As Pastor said, I'm a man, and somebody calls me husband, and so on, which are the social ones. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to the show today. And more so that we are going to talk about unmasking the man.
Yeah.
Men don't like to be unmasked, but I think it's a good thing that we're here. My name is Dr. Kireki Omanwa, and I'm a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist. I teach at the University of Nairobi, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. I'm also a fertility specialist, so when you're talking about unmasking the man, I think this is something which is very important and very close to my heart.
Right.
And then apart from that, I also am the president of the obstetricians and gynecologists in this country, a society called the Kenyan Obstetrical and Gynecological Society.
So when I was saying that there are many titles that this man goes by, I was not kidding. But so glad to have
president.
him. Yes. Yeah. So Pastor Kesis, you started by saying that by virtue of your pastoral work, you found yourself in the space where some of these things or cases that pertains to infertility are brought to your desk.
Yes.
What do? You are not a fertility expert. How?
I think you don't know me well. Well, from where I sit, I've come across very significant infertility cases. Some are renowned all over the world. The case of Abraham and Sarah is a case I'm sure you are aware about. We deal with those kind of cases, There was Isaac and Rebecca. There is Zechariah and Elizabeth. What I'm trying to say is that in this matter of infertility, there is a God involved. And the fact that the Bible talks about it in many incidences tells you that it is something that is close to the heart of God. He knows how much it weighs people down and how much people plead to God for a child. The case of Anna crying before God, at the temple, and God responding. So it is important as we begin this conversation for all men to know that if you are experiencing infertility issues, you've been praying for a child, it is a case that God understands.
Right.
God is not in strange waters, because this is something he has addressed in the past, and God, who allowed it in the past, if he has allowed it now, he has a purpose and something will come through.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a very good context that you've brought about. And of course, Levi, when you're talking about infertility, really, it's not just about having men who perhaps are suffering from infertility, but even when it affects your wife, it affects you directly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think this is one of the topics that is very, very useful in having a discussion with, because to be honest, I think Daktari will bear me witness that not many, especially men, want to have a discussion about this topic.
Right.
And if they do with their spouses, certainly not with the outside world. People would rather keep it a bit of a secret, maybe because of culture, the way we were brought up, and especially when the infertility affects the man, it is something that's more very demoralizing for men, because I think we are all told that the man is the guy, he's supposed to be, naturally the one who will provide the babies, and I think it's a discussion that needs to be had completely in depth, very candidly, and for people to know that these things happen, right, and that there are solutions to them. Yeah.
And you can't go around with medical papers saying, I'm not the problem. It's not me. It's my wife. So, you can't go around doing that. So you have the community suspiciously wondering, could it be, so the stigma attached to it.
Yes.
It's a complex problem.
Yes, because it's more than just a medical condition, rather a problem, Daktari, because it's a social problem. It's the stigma that, we have seen, as a result of this issue of infertility within our societies is mind-blowing. And I just I'll bring in Janai to share his personal experience as it relates to this, but I just want first to loop you in, Daktari, to just paint a picture for us. Is this even an issue really we should be talking about? Maybe we are just saying things that aren't there from where you sit.
We should be watching telly, maybe which football team is playing, and so on, instead of talking about some of these things. This is something which is very personal and very, very intimate. And men, we don't go there. Intimate places, personal problems, we don't want to talk about them. I think we are wired differently, as you said, the way we've been brought up. Ladies will meet, actually they'll meet at my reception area, they'll sit there and they'll ask each other, what has brought you here? Oh, I've done this, and so on. And then at the end of it all, you find they become friends. And they have shared, and they even form a WhatsApp group, and they'll be sharing information. Men, we can never do that. Men is, when we meet there, everybody actually, you find guys have newspapers. I don't want, in case one of my colleagues comes and finds me there. And there have been cases whereby, they come as spouses and it's, Allah, even you're here. I mean, that sort of thing. So it is something which is very personal. And as you said, we have been brought up to think that we are macho. We don't express our feelings. We don't express our problems. We don't share our problems. Intimate problems, no, that is a no-go area. Why? Because I think we will be seen as being weak and feeble, and no man wants to be seen as weak and feeble. It's good, Pastor, you brought up that context, the biblical context, because I think I read the story of Isaac and Rebecca. It actually took them 20 years?
Yes, very long time.
20 years. Now, we also have cases in this country, which I deal with, where there is infertility for 20 years or even sometimes more. Why don't we talk about men as an issue? It is because women are more prominent, or they are prominent, or whatever happens behind doors in the bedrooms actually is manifested in women.
Yeah.
They're the ones who, so she's pregnant, so everything is fine.
Yes.
So if she's not pregnant, then she's the problem, not the man. Now, statistics are interesting. Statistics say that actually most of the cases of infertility, it is us who are here. It is the gentlemen.
Not those who are watching.
Not those who are watching. We are a representative. So about 40% of the cases of infertility are actually because of the male factors, we call it. About 35% is a female factor. About 25% is both. And then a small percentage is what we call unknown. Unknown simply because maybe we have not exhausted all the tests that are available, whereby we can actually try and find out what the problem is. Most of the time, because of financial constraints. Right. So we who are here and those ones who are watching, we actually should actually take this very, very seriously. As you said, it is a social problem. It is a medical problem, because if your body is not responding, is not doing what it is designed to do, it is a medical problem. Just to make it, to sort of bring it into context, the World Health Organization, WHO, has said that infertility is the fifth highest, disability. Fifth highest. Amongst of the disabilities, it's the highest, is number 5 in terms of hierarchy. Just to show how big the problem is. In our countries, in this part of the world, infertility affects about 20, sometimes even up to 30% of the population, which is paradoxical, because we have the highest fertility rates in the world, and we have the highest infertility rates as well. So it is good that we are unmasking this problem.
Yes.
And we are talking about those ones who are watching us.
Yeah.
And, something very important that we need to discuss.
Wow.
Very, very
We'll come back to you, Dr. because there's so much we need to hear from you, even in terms of what are some of the causes or things that lead us into that category of infertility, at least from a man's perspective. And Janai, you are here. And just to also recap what you've said, the fact that this being also a social problem, and men being men, and more often than not wanting even to come out and share. You would have expected us to have a man here who would be sharing his personal journey when it comes to infertility. But equally, we just want to appreciate, Janai, you coming out to even share this with us in terms of how the infertility journey of your wife affected you as a man. In and of itself is also, takes courage to even come out and share that. So perhaps briefly just lead us into your story and how that particular experience affected you as a man, very shortly.
That is very true, Mr. Justice. I was married in 2019. And as in an African setup, once somebody is married, they expect after some time.
Yes. We start counting.
They start counting.
For 2 reasons.
Yeah. So our journey started there in 2019 after the wedding.
Yeah.
Then we, as usual, we were together for 3 or 4 months. Then my wife started counting anxiety. I think with her it was so much anxiety. All the time, periods again.
You see, again, because society will say it is the woman who has the problem.
So she's more concerned.
Yeah, because I didn't have any pressure from anybody else.
Yeah.
But for her, I think she was thinking maybe once he has come to this marriage, people want to see the kid. In fact, we had a grandmother who used to tell us, at the end of this year,
yes,
I want to see
myself.
The fruit before I die.
As soon as possible.
Yeah. So whenever we call her, she used to ask us, is there any success?
Yeah.
First thing.
And she's old.
Yeah, she was 93 years old. She died when she was 94.
Wow.
Then that thing really hit my wife. She started being anxious every day, every month, anxious. Then what happened? After the 4th month, she had prolonged periods. And we said this one is now not normal. We had to seek medical advice. We went to a doctor. The first doctor we went to, he prescribed just painkillers. Just that. He never bothered to know whether she had any pain, back pain, stomach pain.
Yeah.
But the doctor said, just go and take these painkillers and come after 6 months. Yeah, but we thought, as men, as other colleagues have said, men don't share. But what helped me, I went and shared with one of my closest cousins, a lady. I told her.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sharing.
Yeah. I told her, this is what has happened. We are into our 4th month. My wife is experiencing this problem. We went to a certain doctor. This is what he gave us.
Yeah.
She said, no. Before you take those drugs, I want to direct you to a certain doctor. The doctor we seated here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
we went to Dr. Kireki.
And
And
for
that's
information,
where our journey now started.
we didn't bring the two of you because we knew that you have a history
It's a
going on.
coincidence. It's a coincidence, by the way. When he came and found me there,
Yeah.
he thought maybe I've come here for something else. So our journey started with him.
All right.
Yeah. So we didn't take those painkillers, but we carried them to Dr. Kireki. So once we were at Dr. Kireki's office, we explained our case. Then our journey started there. He advised us not to take the drugs faster before we do some tests. Now, the tests now, that's where the difficult journey started. Because as a man, Dr. Kireki advised me, he told me, Janai, we have to do a test, both you and your wife. And then I started getting worried.
What if I'm the problem? Yeah.
Believe it or not, as a man, you start getting worried.
Why were you so scared as a man, Janai?
Yeah, I was thinking, what if it comes out it's me? Yeah. That's the question I asked myself. Of course, I didn't tell my wife. I used to be, as usual, as an African man, I used to put on a strong face.
A brave face.
The mask that we were
The
unmasking
mask.
today. The mask that we
And
are
just
unmasking.
you'll continue these.
Yeah, that question there really gets me, because I think that's a question many men would question themselves. And I think from what I have seen and talked to the gentlemen who have been able to talk, it's easier when it is the problem is underlying with the woman. Many men will take that much more easier than when it is themselves. Usually, even maybe if they go to the doctor once and they hear it's them, denial can check in. They can refuse to go back. Even the marriages, they tend to survive better when it is the lady. I don't know, for us men, I believe there's a mental struggle also that is underlying this issue that also needs to be tackled. And one is by saying that there's a possibility, as we talk to men, probably it lets them, there's a possibility that it could be you.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And that's not a you thing, because if you are able to, all of us would be fertile, no problem. But that's the way there's a possibility you can have a headache, the way there's a possibility you can get cancer. It's just one of those things life can throw. So I think right there, I'm feeling your relief with you.
And then there's something else as well.
Yes.
When men come, actually when they come and sit and look at me from afar. And And it's like I've been brought here, screaming and shouting and whatever.
Dragged to your office.
Dragged
Yes,
here,
yes.
I'm here not on my own free will. I have been forced to be here.
You do those things you're going
You
to
do, yeah. And then when you tell them, like Janai was saying, that I had to go and do a test. Then you tell them which test this is. Man, it's only one test.
Yeah.
Maybe Janai, you can tell us what you did.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And then after that experience, after coming to Dr. Kireki,
Yes.
he said, Janai, before we do anything, the two of you have to undergo some tests. Then I asked him, what test should I undergo? Kireki told me, Janai, I'll tell you. He just asked me some questions, whether I've had a baby before, whether I've had maybe I've been married before.
took the history.
Was your wife present as he was asking?
Yeah, the wife was there. The wife was there. I've never been married.
Why are you answering honestly?
Let me be honest myself.
It's a time of saying the truth.
Have you had a child before? Is that where you say?
Even ask me, do you have any baby outside marriage?
Hey.
Or do you have
Usually that's a secret, but in this case, that's a savior. Yes, I have another one.
No, but then it raises other issues. Why didn't you tell me before?
But it's good I
So
didn't
you
have
finally did the test.
Yeah, I didn't have a baby. Dr. Kirek sent me to AR
Yes.
to go and do some sperm count test. It is quite, that's a very,
Intrusive.
to men it's a terrible experience.
Right.
The other thing is validation. Validation. We are all validated by the children that we bear. Yeah. Even in the Bible, it says, Jacob bore 1, 2, 3, 4. You are Baba so and so, and so on. And more the women as well. When it comes, you say this is Mama so and so. My wife is called Mama Shishi.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's called. When I talk to my mother says, say hi to Mama Mogaka. Because my son is Mogaka, he's the eldest, is Mama Mogaka. So when that is not there, it is as if there is there's a disconnect between you being a mature person, because again that is where it is in our society. Sometimes when you say now let the elders talk, when you look at the elders, they are the people who have the children. Not necessarily the most brilliant, but they have children, so they are mature, as it were, so they can contribute in society, which is again a societal problem, as Pastor has mentioned.
It's true.
And Daktari, when we are talking about infertility specifically as it pertains to men,
Yes.
what exactly are we talking about?
We can actually talk about two things. We can talk about subfertility, where obviously when you're talking about here, it's about production of sperm. Yes, that the sperms are there, the numbers are there, what we call motility, because in order for them to get to their target, they have to swim. And then out of that number that we got, the one who was told to go and give a sample, there have to be a certain percentage of normal forms, the ones which are okay. And for those ones of us who are listening, who are watching, most of the sperms that we actually produce as men are actually not okay. They are
Most.
Most of them. Okay. Because the normal sample is supposed to be at least 1.5 milliliters. So not a lot, about half a teaspoon full. That is the normal. I mean, sometimes we do get 2 milliliters, 5 milliliters, and so on. We also look at what is called the pH. The pH is supposed to be between 7.2 and 8. We look to see whether sometimes they stick to each other, because sometimes they can, and it is not supposed to be there. And then we come and look at the numbers, what we call the concentration. Right. That is the number of sperms in 1 milliliter. It's supposed to be a small number, 15 million only, not a lot, presumably.
15 million.
15 million. And then we look at now the count, that is the total number in that ejaculate. Again, it's not supposed to be a big number. It's only 40 million. Then we look at how they swim. There are different types of swimming. There are some who are sprinters. They are 100 meters. Those are called type A. And then there are the long distance runners, the Kenyans. The marathon runners. Yes. Those are the type B. And then there's type C, where they swim but only in one place. They don't go anywhere. So those ones we won't even classify those ones. And then
they're lazy and watching.
Yes. And then there is type D, those ones which are completely immortal or dead for that matter. So when we assess, we only assess type A and type B, the sprinters and the long distance runners. And it's supposed to be 40% only. And then we come to look at now, out of this, let's say we have this sample, how many of them are normal? Normal in the sense that they have a normal head, because the head is supposed to be ovoid in structure and has a normal tail. Some of them can have a round head that is abnormal. The head can be amorphous. It may have a short tail. They may have two tails, etc., etc. They are all, manner of abnormalities. So the normal ones are supposed to be only 4%, and that is it. Now, when I talked about subfertility, you will find that, yes, the ejaculate is there. The numbers are few, for example. So instead of having, let's say, 150 million as the total count, you have maybe 20 million, which is on the lower side. So there is an issue with the numbers. There can also be an issue with the motility, the way they swim. So instead of 40%, let's say you have 20% motility, which is on the lower side. And then they can also have, the normal forms. Instead of them being at least 4%, you find there, for example, 1%, or sometimes none of them is okay. So that is subfertility. But then you have a problem whereby there is no sperm at all, what we call azoospermia. That's a completely different ball game. This now brings us maybe to some of the causes of infertility.
So, Doctor, you're saying, so apart from the last, the second one, which you said there's no sperm, completely.
Yes.
You're saying that without these tests,
yes,
it is difficult for a man
to tell whether you are the problem or
whether
not.
he is the problem.
Actually, you will never tell. And that is one of the myths which I want to talk about.
Yes.
And I want to emphasize that.
And I want us to come to that.
Yes.
But first, because this show is only limited to 30 minutes, unfortunately we have come to an end, but we are going to have part 2. We are coming back with part 2. Make sure you tune in on the next episode, as now we go deeper into the waters of infertility as it affects men. You don't want to miss this. This is Unmasking the Man. See you again on the next episode.